Welcome back, everybody. Here we are, Season 3 Survivor, Episode 3, the final countdown. This is our Nuzlocke format, and I am here joined by Yuta, our creator of this format, and also special guest Omari from Team Aqua.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
So, here we are with with you two. Yeah, so we got Blue and Wild, and this was week 2, so yeah, this was the second week for Team Aqua going
Right.
into their second loss to start the season. We'll be going through this one quick to give us just some brief time to look over it. Is there anything that stood out looking at format? We do have the
Well, this
Haunch
this
Crow
format,
versus.
yeah.
Yeah, we got that.
Glycopod just seemed really strong this format, along with Yan Mega and the Croc. Croc on both sides is very
Mhm.
expected. It was like one of the
Mhm.
best mons this week, despite the many water types.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the thing with Skelly. We've mentioned before. Any format he's in, he can be dangerous. Yeah. So they both had the
Yeah.
Skellys. To your point, the goalie on one side. That thing hits almost no matter what's across from it.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get to see that in the week's full format again. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
saw
really
that.
huge. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about that later, but yeah, it, the crocodile is making a comeback.
He shows up everywhere. All right, so here we are. We'll go through pretty quick, since it's the elimination match. That water absorb early on, good switch in.
There's a
Auto
launch
absorb on the
crow.
mon that already resists water
That
is
too,
a
though.
I have given drizzle to Tangros. I guess I just don't get the drizzle
there's
on
a there's
Haunch
a
Crow.
Sapsipper Swampert.
Yeah, I feel like it is a waste on Haunch Crow.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
wanna go swift swim or something.
Or even like tinted lens.
Was tinted lens allowed? It
I
feels
believe
as
it
if it
was.
needs
Was
I
it?
believe it
I feel
was.
like it was.
I think so.
Oh, okay. There's
Yeah,
that water
no, it
absorb
wasn't.
tango.
Mhm.
Oh, must be
Tintiness wasn't
misremembering then.
allowed.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh.
Hmm.
What? Tell me that. Oh wait,
Here
no,
comes the
no, never
Skellige.
mind.
Oh, that's a great burn
Or
from
whoa,
Skellige though.
whoa! I was thinking wrong. By the way, we're not looking at Team Aqua. We're looking at the week 3 eliminations right here.
No. What do you mean?
This is Team
Uh,
Aqua.
Is this Team Aqua?
Yeah,
This is
Blue's
Team
on
Alpha. This is
Blue's
week
on Team
two.
Aqua.
This is
Oh,
Wise
right. No.
versus
Oh,
Blue
we
for
haven't
week
done.
two.
Oh, yeah. No, my thought process on what episode we're on had me confused.
So much has happened since that game.
For real.
But yeah, this is just Skellige snowball effect.
Mm,
Just keeps going and going.
It feels like this elimination match happened weeks ago.
Oh, Yan Mega feels like it can completely wall balloon with that
I will,
grass
I will
fighting
switch now.
with water absorb.
The
It keeps
flinch.
flinching.
Ugh.
Aqua and the hacks.
Usually Hax is against us, but
Well, I mean, it was against one of them.
yeah. And I think this was the point where Skellige for Blue just finished the job. If I'm not, oh no,
No, no.
Yeah, Dry Skin put it back in the range where it may have survived.
Oh, I tried to get the kill there, but
yeah, Skellige does a lot even without a boost.
for real. There's a reason he's
Have
so
you seen what
useful.
ability that Skellige is on Blue side?
Yeah, That's exactly what I was gonna ask because I thought it
Earth
was
Eater.
gonna be Water Up. So
Oh,
Earth
Earth
Eater.
Eater.
We got Earth Eater.
Yeah, Poison Terror with
I
Earth
feel like
Eater.
it's good in this
pretty
format
clever.
being weak to water
Yeah.
and ground, so you have to guess.
Yeah.
Well, at least
but
before Terror, which made it more obvious that it was
yeah.
Earth Eater.
Again, to Yuta's point, him going poison was perfect for that. He played it really well there.
It's really funny because I think that Poison was regarded as like possibly the worst
It
Terror type
was.
for the week.
It
but,
was.
it's the second game that's very where Terror Poison Mon is very decisive.
Yeah, I've seen Terror Poison Guja, I believe, with Earth Eater also.
It came
Yeah.
down close. It was a really good match. Having first impression was seriously.
Yeah,
It meant so much.
Yeah, first impression did a lot of that game.
It was a great match. I'm excited if Wild sticks around later because that he showed there
Yeah,
that he did at least belong to be participating in this. He didn't give a weak showing.
Yeah, not at all. It's not like he got eliminated with no fight.
Yeah, no, he put up a
Yeah,
good
I
fight
feel
there.
like a lot of the fights. I feel that's representative of quite a few fights that week because a lot of the fights were quite close.
Yeah, there were a lot of closer fights that week. We had a few runaways week 1, but week 2 was definitely much closer. Okay, so now we will discuss this week 3 format that we just played and the matches that we're about to be going over. And Yuta, go ahead and give us a quick breakdown because this is a very unique week for us.
Yeah, so we did a lot of formats about like having a specific set of mon in every team, and you can only use each mon once per team. So that was really born out of a desire to create more variety and have that themed around Nuzlocke, right? As I said in last week's video, the roster of mon was probably decided randomly. It turned out pretty fun because we got a few, like a mon in particular that really shined, was really like central to every game this week.
So
Every game it was in, I mean.
yeah, no, that's a great point. And so to that point, since we have Omari here, who's a player in this season, did you just to see if you knew about this? Did you hear about how the Pokemon were picked for this one? How it was completely random?
No, actually, I was unaware to this fact.
Yeah.
But
So
I feel
so
like you've
hearing
got a
that, yeah.
solid cast of monsters.
Okay, good to hear. Yeah. So how, you feel it was a pretty good set despite it being completely random. It played out pretty well.
I mean, I
I mean, I
did
feel like there were some oppressive mons, but yeah.
I did have a select, like I wanted a certain amount of each type. But apart from that, yeah, randomized which mon of that type would appear. Also wanted to ask the about the thought process of your team in spreading the players, choosing the order the players are gonna go in. Like,
Oh yeah.
what
Sorry,
what position did you want to be in?
Well, I was free pretty much all week. I was like, just put me wherever because I'm not picky. Well, everyone really wants to be first. You have the biggest ride of mons, but I was okay with being towards the back end, mainly because I do better in like stuff like draft compared to like say 35 pokes. So the less Pokemon they have, even if I have a restricted move pool, I can make things work rather than being overwhelmed by the massive amount at the start of the week.
It's funny you say that because that was actually mentioned. Either I believe Yuta had actually brought it up.
I don't remember, but I might have.
The point of the draft players choosing to go later in the week.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I get what you mean.
And we did see
For
that
sure,
play
yeah.
out.
we absolutely did, because you have a way better idea what you're going to be going up against, so you can come better prepared. I did say that the being in first position was probably the hardest job.
Hmm.
Well, is there any standout mons that you guys thought were
That we weren't
really good?
expecting.
We weren't
Some
expecting.
that
I
you were, some
wasn't.
that you weren't
Okay.
at first glance, and then upon further inspection.
Hmm.
I wasn't expecting Sylveon to be as strong as it was.
Hmm. I'd probably agree with that. The certain of the times it played effect, it definitely made an impact.
Yeah.
Mabostiff, the
My
stupid
boss
Gen
diff,
9 dog.
my boss diff was amazing.
But Bostiff is a
Um,
Insane for no reason.
quiet badass.
Especially in
Yeah,
this, where you're trying to preserve mons and switching out a lot, stakeout can really punch holes through a team.
True.
absolutely. We're gonna get to see that.
Um, Sharpedo, I don't think played out as, and it wasn't bad, but I don't think it was as well as we might have expected going into the week.
Yeah, as the
Yeah,
only mega, you thought it'd be more
Yeah,
centralized.
we were very curious how it would play out with it being the only mega.
people really over prepared for it, like the scarf
Yes,
Lilligant
I
and all
feel.
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, Scarf Lilligant. I feel like it was very restricting in a way, even though it didn't do much. But the fear of it was more powerful than I think its actual like use.
That's
Hmm.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I don't think there were too many other big surprises. I think the biggest surprise, other than Sylveon, would be the use of Tropius.
Oh
Oh,
my god, yeah.
I think Cradilly was pretty impressive.
Cradily
Cradilly,
and Tropius, yeah.
Cradilly was used good, and it's funny you bring that up. We will be talking about Cradilly earlier in a spot in
Oh
the
yeah.
Cradilly is owner of Move of the Week,
Turn of the week, yeah,
Turn of the Week.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Tropius and Cradilly, yeah, the two of them. But again, Cradilly, I just wouldn't have said the most surprising because we have seen a bit from him. We don't really know fully always to expect a lot, so it definitely did better than we probably expected. But I don't think anybody expected Tropius to have much, if any, impact.
Yeah, I feel like another not necessarily a prominent mon as if it did a lot, but I feel like a mon that enabled a lot of other mons to thrive is Jellison. I
Mm,
feel like it's a great pivot. It has strength sap, will-o-wisp, to toxic to just cripple their opponents.
Mhm.
So I feel like Jellison, I feel, is another unsung hero of this week.
true, true. Yeah, so that quite a bit. And so I guess the only other one I will say is no, we mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it for the episode. Is my Mamoswine got his kills? I think he got a total of 8. If I remember correctly, he got 8, and I wanted 5. So I'm happy about that. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
You did your job.
Yeah, Mama Swine was a great mon this week.
I love
I think
him.
it did fantastic. That we'll talk about it. I'll talk about it more at the time, but there's one particular Mama Swan set that I really liked.
Yeah. No, was it the end?
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of figured. Okay, so with that, after going over those and everything, we'll jump into our first match of the week. And our first match was Oya versus Franky. While
two
we're going,
outstanding players.
two outstanding players for sure. They've definitely both shown out. And I think pretty sure it was a good game. So I I think I remember who won, but
I
it
don't.
should be a close one. It should be a close one. So let's get into
It
it. Huh?
it was the closest match of the whole week.
Most of the matches for the week were very close.
No, not
Or
necessarily. What I'm
No.
saying is this match was
oh,
the
this was the closest.
was the closest of
Hmm.
the week. Yeah, absolutely.
That double
Oh,
Terra.
that's one kill for your Mama Swan already.
Sometimes I'm really wondering about the thought process behind the surnames, the nicknames of the mon.
Well, I can tell you right now the names for Oya. I heard from him, a little insider scoop. Those are bits from a song. One of the the names, I don't remember which one. I'll have to see it when it comes out. I don't think it's any of these. I think it's one of these three that are named after the title, and the other 5 are lyrics in the song, I believe.
I think he told me about that. I don't know which song it is. It's crazy to lose. Like the 2 first mon to fall are orbital on each side.
They put certain weight into him, yeah.
Both teams just wanted the screens and the sticky webs set up to like get a big amount of kills and a huge lead up for the rest of the week.
Which is funny because, like we said, this was the closest match.
Even though, I mean, even though Franky's gonna win this fight, spoiler alert, losing Excadrill and Primarina and no, I don't think he loses Iron Hands.
No, Iron
sure.
Hands, I believe, yeah.
Excadrill and Primarina is already like a big loss.
Yeah, that
God,
hit
he
from
won
an
off
Aqua
of this?
point of perspective. That hit, yeah, that hit Aqua quite hard not having Primarina. Definitely hit me hard as one of the ones I was planning to use, along with the. Have we mentioned the killing and the saving?
I don't know we have, but that's a good point
necessarily, no.
because that needs to come up actually, because if you look, Iron Hands did not survive this. Franky lost one.
Yeah,
they had
so-
2 Iron Hands. He lost one of their 2 in this, but Porygon
Yeah.
ended up sweeping.
Yeah.
After losing my ideal Corin, one from kills being Skarmory and the other one being Primarina, I was pretty panicked about what else I might lose given our team's losing streak. Thankfully, our team clutched up and I had a very good pool of monsters to select from. Yeah, this Z conversion we've seen a couple of times this week. It's been a very good play. This was Porygon. Porygon was a very oppressive one this week, a huge offensive threat.
He was. So let's point out real quick too. This isn't turn of the week. We have turn of the week later on, but this could have been turn of the week in the sense of momentum for the entire week. Game 1 of the week. This right here could have completely changed the entire week. If 7% right there on that ice shard, that could have changed the entire week.
I think he says that he has 43% chance of killing. Because I was getting frustrated. I was like, why did you not send out Mamoswine to try and go for the ice shard? But yeah, he just knew he wasn't getting it.
It was tough. That was hard to see, but like I said, when it comes to momentum, if that ice shard kills right there, we might have looked at a runaway week from Magma.
A different story for sure.
At least a different story.
But I mean, it's not that big. As I was saying, it's the closest match because like Franky's winning, and that's great. But I mean, getting to save Porygon is great. But you lost to Primarina, you lost to Iron Hands, Excadrill.
It was a hit, but like considering
I
the
mean,
fact.
the only thing I'm trying to say is that although Oya lost the game, the only very valuable mon that you're losing right now is probably Iron Hands. If you Aqua hadn't given a second life to Porygon Z, that first game would have been really different.
To that point, we see a Porygon Z on Team Aqua here in Game 2, and we would not have seen it had that changed.
And it's bad.
It's just something to think about now that knowing what we know.
These teams are looking a little bit funky.
Yep, this is where we got to have some fun because people would bring things they may not normally have, or at least the team comp overall they wouldn't normally bring. And we don't see
It's kind of
any
a
doubles. They're all unique mons.
it's kind of a compromise of like bringing some strong assets. You've got Skarmory. You don't want to be using up too much resources, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see some of that thought process. Did you, Omari? Was there much of a thought process for Blue as a team on what to bring?
Blue kind of he was apprehensive about this fight because obviously the whole team wanted Primarina. Primarina is just an incredibly good mon, but Blue, uh, I think it was with Blue that Franky did a mock, and I feel like some of these team changed. I feel like Shark was not. I don't remember the Shark being here pre-mock. Um, so let's see what impact it has.
Yeah, all right, let's see. I don't recall exactly how it played out. I know who won, I just don't know who survived, so we'll see. Stealth rocks were a big thing this week.
Well, when you're switching so many times, it's understandable. And rocks go up on both sides, just emphasizing our point there.
Exactly.
No protect Sharpedo is interesting.
I was a little disappointed with the no Rocky helmet. I know they had the leftovers to try and get a little more out of it, but I feel like that Rocky helmet would have been a little better.
This is where Galvantula went down for our team. So we are now out of webs. And as someone who really likes webs, that was a huge poison there.
Yes, that poison
That
was
was a
massive.
huge poison.
I was looking at that Raikou and I was thinking because I saw the game, but I was like, how I know how the game ends, and I was like, how do we get from this Raikou being at +1 with no answers to
Another Z conversion.
Yeah, and that
Porygon
Z
Z.
conversion, that having that change in
Huge
type,
Teleground.
that Terra was huge.
that ground terror was really cool. Unfortunately, he cannot do enough damage back, but the
A
ground
big
terror was really
poison
cool.
though, a big poison to take
Yeah.
that.
Poison was really good that fight.
Yes, it was good. I think all week, really.
Oh yeah, of course, but like the proc on the
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Rapid Spin for Cerulege. Getting rid of Stealth Rocks for.
Losing Skarmory there is big as well.
They had another one if I remember correctly.
That sacking Pori.
Can
Okay,
check that
so
up.
so there we go though. We have some of our answer though. That Porygon might not have
Because I
changed
did, yeah.
too much. Bitter Blade. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm with Terrify. I don't think Shadow Sneak. Oh, Shadow Sneak does kill.
Yeah, it did. It did. I was surprised it did, but it did.
And there we are.
I mean, yeah, Colossal was also quite good.
Colossal did really good in that matchup for sure. Yeah, he was brought quite a few times. I think he survived a few matches.
Well, he is. I feel like he's a very good answer into non-body press scan. Just with stealth rock, just with rapid spin and
overheat,
its own hazards, either forcing a defog or their own rapid spinner.
It was a well played game. Some surprises, that Shadow Sneak hitting for more than we thought on the Terra Fire. Alright, we got our first showing of Credilli. And we got
Our first Cresselia as well.
Yeah, our
Or
first
am I
Cresselia. We got
mistaken?
Carcoal brought on Magma. Or wait, no, this is still. Wait. Among Us is.
No, that's Aqua. Among Us is Aqua.
Oh, you guys did have 2 Primarinas. That's why. Yeah, you guys had 2 Primarinas. So this was. So that here is where you guys brought out your last Primarina. And then yeah, both of
I think this is where we lost it as well.
it is. Both mons that survived last match were brought. All right, so here we go. But yeah, speaking of
This,
last match, you see a similarity. 3 of the mons that were brought from Team Aqua last match were brought this match: Okidogi, Ceruledge, and Galvantula,
Yeah, they're back. I
just
have
for
to say, it's
Magma.
completely unrelated. Completely unrelated, but Among Us Blaster does have a really cool avatar.
He does.
I wish I got to see Barbarical in particular do a bit more this week. It's one of my favorite Gen 6 mons, and with access to Shell Smash, it can just get out of hand super quickly.
Yeah,
This
he was pretty quiet.
crafty must be like full defense, full HP. It took no damage from close combat.
Quirked up white boy.
I mean, the def. Oh, that's an unfortunate miss. But that was a great Steel Terror, predicting the poison jab. Or really any poison or steel move. On fairies, it's I think a fantastic Terror type. In particular.
Speak of the devil, Omari predicting a 5-0 just to get immediately proven wrong.
No, I was manifesting for a later match.
Some of your live commentary on these games was insane. I think we're gonna get to see other battles in which you were commenting, I guess.
I tried asking if a 4-0 was gonna happen, and then I think right
Well,
here
I
I
was
was like,
predicting
yep,
a
no,
5-0. I was predicting a 5-0 against our team
yeah.
with that Dragon Dance Scrafty. It looked dangerous.
It did. I will give you that. I got a little scared of it.
But Among Us, I feel like Among Us navigated it really well.
I think someone looked at the pace for Among Us's team after the battle and said and pointed out that there were 3 water types,
Yeah.
which sadly
Oh
was
yeah,
too late
that
when
was
you look
me.
at it.
That was me,
Oh,
but just after the battle started.
that's too bad.
Just don't
Just
para.
don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Aqua has been hit with so many paras this season.
Speak of the devil. Oh, again, the power
That close
into
comp,
our second
yeah,
Primarina down.
yeah.
Paid actor.
Every time they needed the para. And yeah, that's
Yeah, and then, well.
that toxic. Yep, that's what it was. I was wondering what was gonna happen when that went off, and then the toxic. Ugh.
How much HP did Cresselia have?
60% left.
I
It
feel
might
like
have
with
died.
plus two plus tough cores, that's dangerous. Well,
Yeah, it might have
liquidation is
died.
doing huge numbers.
Yeah, no, I was excited for it, and then that toxic showed up. I was like, oh. I was really curious to see if he would have an answer for that speed, but we were disappointed. Magma wasn't
Yeah,
though, with
was
the
that?
3-0 to take the tie in the week at that time.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that might have been our first loss. I can't
It
remember.
was. It was.
I think it was.
It was the first
Yeah.
loss.
So,
It tied up the
that,
score by numbers.
that was definitely a humbling
Yeah.
for our team in Aqua Chat.
But going into the fourth one, all right, here we
Oh,
are
it's me.
with Omari's match himself. Let's hear. What did you think going into this matchup?
Well, I saw webs, I saw Crest, and I saw Porygon, and I was, to be honest, quivering in my boots. I was terrified. But I noticed that outside of Excadrill, nothing really likes my Carmine Sylveon with cute charm.
Foreshadowing.
Because I knew that I had, but even then I knew I had Mystical Fire, so I could punish any Excadrill switches in. I just thought they were mostly special attackers, so I thought my Jellicent is just going to do numbers here, which it didn't do numbers, but it definitely helped me play around and play off each other.
Yeah, so let's get into this and see that terrifying Sylveon you had. Marvel Rivals. Talking about shit mid-game.
All the nicknames from his team are based on Marvel Rivals, so. So I messed up and didn't actually mean to put Hustle on my Gilligan. I just meant to put Chlorophyll Wide Lens,
Okay.
just so I could make sure I could hit my moves. But thankfully it didn't affect the game too poorly. Great Terra Fairy Bring for Shark.
Yeah, and that goes back to Yuta's point
Obviously.
earlier. A lot of people built to counter that shark.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to do some passive chip.
This Cresselia with screens is my worst nightmare.
Get no burn for Aqua. I believe this was where I lost. Yeah, I lost Muck because no one really wanted it on my team too badly, so I thought I could. Still thought going up because I thought, what if it's not heavy duty boots Yanmega? Because I was quite scared of the Yanmega sweeping late game.
You both are playing very like, I mean, it's solid plays. I don't see any like big mistakes, you know.
Well,
Yeah, I feel like
I think up to turn 21, that was very fair, but I think this is where things start to snowball.
I'm just not sure what Omega can do in that situation.
With his current team there, I don't know if there was that much.
Yeah. I think you did a great job, Omari, of like seeing the opposing team and creating the situation in which you had the upper end with Sylveon and like he really cannot do anything. Just have to spam Mystical Fire.
I just saw that like if I started clicking Mystical Fire, it would just cover all my options because either it's Excadrill and it doesn't want to take a Mystical Fire, or it's a special attacker. Two of them being weak to Mystical Fire.
That's what we were saying. Because looking at that roster of mons, I don't look at Sylveon and be like, oh my god, it's so scary. I have to prepare myself for it.
I love
No
that
damage.
Hex Jellicent set, though.
It can be dangerous. I don't feel like I got the most out of it, however. Yeah, I was Fizz Def.
That was wild. What?
Yeah, I was Fizz
Oh,
Def,
it was a crit.
Sylveon.
Yeah, it was a crit. That crit was huge.
I mean, we deserved it by that point. The amount of
I
hacks
mean,
we had
hey,
against us.
fair. The RNG gods did owe you one. And with that Excadrill gone, there was no counter.
Mm-hmm.
Even if screens 32% on something that isn't that strong, just shows you how good Hex is. Oh, I forgot Z conversion changes, so they didn't have Stab Thunderbolt anymore.
Yeah, the one downside. I mean, it's happens with any Z1 like that you got, but interesting move to throw the Galvantula out there like that when you could have at least tried to win the round first.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, like, the nerves can just really set in
Yeah.
and meh. So, like, no fault to Omega here, but I feel like
It
he's
was a
made some good
losing.
plays.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a
Yeah.
quick match. It wasn't like it was a quick sweep.
Exactly.
It was a long, drawn-on
I feel,
game.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I feel like he doesn't give himself enough credit sometimes on what he did well. But I feel like most of us can do that. If we lose a match, we immediately look for the
Well,
negatives.
this
instead
week
of-
especially too, where your differential matters, to lose 5-0, it's just, it hits you a certain way, which is understandable. But like you said, it wasn't a bad. In any other week, you can look at this and just say it was a well-played game. He just lost. In this week,
Yeah,
it's
but in
just
this week,
looked at different. Yeah.
yeah, because it actively impacts the other members as well, not just you.
But I mean, like we're saying, a 47-turn game isn't a short match.
Yeah,
So it was
it's
well played on.
commendable to fight.
Yeah, it was well played on both sides. Just you did a much better job of keeping them alive. You had Jellicent to resort out to with that strength sap. You played that game really well. That probably should be a highlighted match because playing the game in a Nuzlocke format like this and keeping your team alive through such a long game.
I will say, I do have some experience doing Nuzlocke and Nuzlocke in the team sense. I play Soul Links all the time, so I feel like resource
Oh, I love
management
that.
is just a skill that's learned really. So I
Very
feel
fair.
like this week benefit me.
Very, very fair. All right, so here we got our match with that will feature our turn of the week. We got Sandal and
Is this it?
Killateral.
Oh, I think I know what. Yeah, I remember watching this match actually.
Yep, so this was Killateral's first match back off of his blocked week.
This is probably my favorite fight of the week, and it's a week with a lot of great fights.
It really
two
was a week
very-
with good fights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
two
first
very-
fight was really good. Your fight with Omega was really good as well.
Despite the
Yeah.
Another
Mon
poison.
difference, it was a
Yeah.
good played fight for sure.
In this match, again, just two very hard hitters from both teams, two very good players. Their battling skills, from what I've seen, are just astonishing. But that can go for like basically everyone in this cast. Everyone's had their shining moments.
Now, while we're talking
It
about
just really
this,
depends.
let's talk a little bit about something that Sandal confessed to me about my Mamoswine here. This Mamoswine that we see is holding a mirror herb. It doesn't end up going off at all, but he's holding a mirror herb in case of that, trying to get that Z conversion.
It's the I believe it's
It was
the second
originally
week.
on the Mabostiff, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, but it was me who told them to change it onto the Mamoswine because in the mock, Mabostiff just got one shot even with Z conversion up.
And so the thing about that
Um,
too, like if it would have went off, it would have just been a great play. But the fact that
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we get to see 2 Mamoswine kills this game with an item that basically didn't matter is
This is the turn of
remarkable
the
to
week.
me. Oh, yep, there we go.
This is
Turn of the
absolutely
week.
turn of the week.
We'll
That
go back to
goes-
highlight it a little bit.
Oh my god.
This
There's already
conversion, or not
infestation.
conversion, Terra.
Infestation in a Nuzlocke week. Great thinking. I really did not think about that, but it's a great idea.
Gets a
But,
leech
like,
seed
Actually,
in.
it's such a bulky mon.
I personally have never thought about using curse, like Terra Ghost and using curse.
Infestation, leech
cannot-
seed, curse.
Look, that load of HP just lost. That is good. 2 turns. That is insane.
Yeah, I say that deserves turn of the week. Congrats, Sandal.
It can just keep going.
Definitely got use out of that Credilli.
And this is another great set.
Yeah, if the mirror hood was still on my boss diff, it would have been over right then and there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that would have been right then and there.
That really shocked me because that my boss diff was assault vest.
Yeah, that hit for a lot.
Wasn't it analytic?
Well, it might have been.
I believe it was analytic. I believe Killateral used choice specs and analytic. I might be saying
Well,
shit, but I believe that's what I remember.
I believe so, because if it was download, we would see it, and if it was adaptability, I believe we'd also see it. So I think it was analytic.
Adaptability doesn't show, does it?
It wouldn't?
No.
Oh, okay,
No, it wouldn't.
so it's adaptability or analytic, one of the two. All right, so there was
Either
our.
way,
Might have been
Collateral put up,
adaptability.
with a mon disadvantage that big, Collateral put up a great fight there.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought we were gonna see a little more out of him from after the first week, but Sandal is a great opponent. Sandal can absolutely win or lose any which week against whoever he's up against. So that's definitely a matchup of 2 of the giants.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like this week we're just glazing everyone. Like most people were on their like highest performance.
Most people, I
capabilities,
do
I
feel
guess.
like people. I think with this type of format, not seeing the same repeated lineups and not being able to perfect it, we got to see a lot more closer gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So after that
Yeah,
one,
'cause
go ahead.
Definitely in week 2, we could see that popular mons, the strong mons just became more and more popular. Like, obviously there was mons that everyone thought was strong, but then some underrated mons just came like really prevalent. But then in this week, obviously, if you see a set and then the Pokemon dies and you don't have an extra life on the Pokemon, then you can't use that set. So it brings a lot more diversity, I think, and challenge to the team building process.
I think Magma tried to play the long game of only being willing to lose their lesser Pokemon early on, and I think they waited too long to pull the trigger on bringing their better lineups.
Yeah, I agree.
It might have worked. It might have worked, but I think you're right in saying that maybe some stronger mons a little earlier might have helped.
Just because, again, how we were talking with the draft players and playing later on, if you have good draft players on your team and your opponent only has 8 Pokemon to pick from, you have your work cut out for you for sure.
Mhm.
So here we are with Gamertag and Daredevil, and again, as we're talking about with that, I believe it was something close to like about 20 to maybe 10 to 9.
Yeah, I think so.
Magma had 9, so it was about 20 some to 9, maybe 19 or so. So yeah, about a 10 mon advantage
Something like
for
that.
Aqua
And
at
well,
this point.
I know we're only week 3, but we're seeing a matchup between the person that was the leader of the player board and Daredevil, who hadn't won a single match and was at the very bottom.
True, that was
So very
also a big
lopsided.
thing. Yeah, going into this, you could have expected a easy match for Gamertag, but we had a good one.
I think yeah, Jellicent again playing a great role in that game and in that week. It's gonna get a few. Oh, it's the battle of the
This is where we saw Tropius actually get to shine.
Shine a light on
Well,
Gamertag. Gamertag was very not picky with what they had, but they're like, if you're leaving me anything, leave me Tropius. Like, they were very excited
Yeah,
for this
he was.
Tropius set.
I remember he was really adamant about making Tropius shine that week and that he was gonna make it amazing. He made it something, that's for sure.
Here we see an actual pixelate Sylveon instead of Keytron. But yeah, I'm just looking at that Swanna, and I'm a random battles player, and I know that Swanna's dangerous. I think it was choice specs in this game, and I remember it doing some big damage.
Oh, this could have been insane. I am so sad that didn't work out.
Yeah, that
Maybe
could
if
have
it
been
was
big.
used later.
I think that other Magmortar was also Belly Drum, looking just by its items and its moves. It's not revealed, but I think it might have been.
And we can talk, I think, a little bit about this too, Yuta. Us as moderators going into this match, we were considering this being the last match of the week.
Yeah, it could have been, yeah.
So we were considering this. Daredevil's performance here really is kind of what put Game 7 into motion.
Yeah, if the difference had been too great and that Aqua would have had too many mons left, we would just have forfeited the game 7 and proceeded with the rest and the voting and all that. Yeah, the performance is just that great. It really redeems him for like having not won at that point.
Strikes again with the 2 Hurricane misses.
I really am not a fan of that move.
Yeah, I'm more of an air slash fan myself, I must say. If you're using Hurricane, I want compound those.
My gunk shot. I don't.
Big burn again, otherwise
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
it's the burn that
over.
sealed the game.
It is too.
Here's the Tropius that Gamertag could promise to make great, actually on the other side.
gets to Sylveon,
Again,
Sylveon.
Sylveon.
Yep. And we get this Z
Yes.
Celebrate
Oh, I
brought
forgot about
out.
this. A
Yes,
lot
I
of Omni
completely-
boosting Z moves this week.
Completely forgot that existed, and someone mentioned it in the chat.
Magma said they wanted to save that for later.
Yeah, because they didn't want you to find out about it. It works great with their Sylveon killing yours.
That looks great, but I feel like, on the other hand, it's also that's a move slot gone, and you can't go higher unless you have Calm Mind. You can't go higher than +1.
True.
So I feel like you're committed to staying in a Nuzlocke format. I feel like
I just think you
it
get
can be a double-edged sword.
the surprise factor of having suddenly a Sylveon that's +1 speed in front of you. It's way harder to check.
This
Yeah, especially
whole
with like stored power capability, stored power,
this interaction
sure.
which I
here.
don't think we see on this Sylveon, but stored power could definitely be a set to cover for any poisons.
So at that point, I thought that Gamertag knew he'd lost, and that, well, he knew he'd lost, but like, he was trying to get at least Amon down. Like, when the switch to Tropius is made, you just forfeit, please.
So yeah, so we're gonna play a little special game here and go on fast mode for this part. Actually, let's go on hyper fast and see how long it still takes. Alright, and on to that. Because of that match, like we were just saying, that put us at a somewhat point where it was still lopsided, but Magma had a comparable number. It was 9-11, I believe. So all they needed to, well, I mean, I say all they needed to do, but it's not as easy as that. Obviously, they had to have 4 Mons alive and win in order to tie it, and 5-0 to win it. Which, like I just said, it was a tall order for sure.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Oh, I think most people expected Regigigas to make it to the end, but
yeah, we did.
I know there was some debate about, because for Magma, it was, you had like Magma had 7 Mons left, so there was a question about who do you leave out, and I think at the beginning Regigigas was not the one being left out. It just made a comeback later in the building process. Don't remember if we're gonna get to see much of it though.
That Tropius that made some of us.
I gave Franky, and then he just fought as a compromise. So I feel like I know this team quite well. It's quite fresh in my brain. I knew that Ice Fang, Crunch, Mega Sharpedo just went insane into this team. Barring I thought Magmortar would come, but oh yeah, that's what happened to Regigigas. Just got crunched. Scarf Swanner for that shark.
Yeah.
Memo.
That Terragrass Trailblaze.
That's a. But I forgot to make different terrace. So I feel like without. Okay, maybe not without Terragrass Mamoswine, as he still had 3 other mons in the back, but it definitely aided hugely to the.
But Mamoswine's still being faster there.
Yeah, Sylveon just being so slow.
Well, if you knew that, why would you use the Z move just now?
Yeah.
You could expect it to be slower.
He had the +1 and he was only getting up to the +1, so yeah.
I guess it had nothing to speak at
Maybe
that point.
he wasn't expecting it to do 60%.
Yeah, he might have not expected it early on, but and afterwards it might have just been too late. But
Hmm.
but it was a fun week. I was very happy to see how that week played out. I was excited going into it, and I don't think we were disappointed.
Yeah, not at all.
I think that was my favorite week to play in so far. Just I like the team building options getting less and less. It added like it gave a higher importance to what you did in your game for the people down the line.
Yeah, it created a few scheduling issues, I guess. But
Oh, yeah, that's if that's something we want to touch upon. When was the first game played?
the
Thursday.
That's a fair point. Yeah, the formatting for a week like this will need to change because yeah, having our first game Thursday was quite the trip.
Yeah.
the roster getting smaller was really cool. Um, we I mean, Magma kind of like bringing it back closer towards the end and making us believe that perhaps it could be a tie or them winning was really hype.
That would have been very cool to see, but obviously very heart crushing to see from my outlook perspective. Yeah, it's just been phenomenal um, seeing this week. I think I watched every match live this week, and that's the first time I've done that this season. And it's just great to see it in real time and then remember vaguely how the match is and then watch it back again and be like surprised all over again when you see things that you've forgotten.
I think it's pretty cool that this week was a great opportunity to showcase our draft players because a lot of our player base comes from draft leagues, and although we're not doing exactly draft leagues, that is the case. So I'm glad that we got to showcase a bit of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
one more point. I feel like this entire game, I don't know if any players come from that side of Pokemon, but anyone who's played 35 pokes before, I feel like has just like heaps and heaps of experience in this format. It's a similar amount of Pokemon, like
I haven't heard of
apart
that
from
one.
like the cool custom rules each week. It's like a very, very similar. The battles at least a very, very similar team building process.
Hmm.
I had no idea that was a thing.
So Yuta, here we are. We got how everything played out for that week, and we know now going into the elimination match, we're going to be seeing Oya versus Elou. We're going to see the two French players battle it out, and we also do know they know each other beyond Survivor, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've known each other for a few years now. So as I was saying, I really don't know which way it's gonna go. I feel like the two players are really good, but I feel like them knowing each other is really gonna matter a lot because they know how each other usually play, and what kind of attitude they tend to have.
hmm It's a little surprising. We'll see how the strategies play out, how the voting goes, see if things go similar, but it's pretty wild to see somebody who's 2-1 after 3 weeks in an elimination match.
Absolutely.
All right, so here we are with episode 4 of season 3, Chinese Whispers, the sequel. So, Yuta, I'll let you go ahead and explain what's different about this one versus what we've seen in the past, and then we'll go ahead and get into it and talk together about what we think about this format.
Oh, so Chinese whispers. I think that I mean you were on season one, so I'd like to know what you remember maybe of it and how you felt about it. Because in in my experience, I had a lot of fun that week when we did it in season one. Because you all came up with very fun idea. So I knew that it was gonna come back at some point. I love rerunning formats and changing a few things here and there. So how did you feel about it, season one?
Yeah, absolutely. Season one, it was amazing. I think, if I remember correctly, it was my first time experiencing something of this type of format. It I had been pretty new to Pokemon Showdown around the time I started getting into season one of this, so I hadn't
Oh
tried
wow.
out these different formats. So getting to play a format where you're suddenly just swapping something like that, and you have so much choices to make. My first thought when I looked into this format, season one, was I had no idea what to build. Like,
Yeah.
I had saw everybody chatting about, oh, there's this and this, there's this can swap to this, it's perfect, blah blah. I'm like, I know these moves, but like, I have to like pull them up on Showdown. I got to look through the moves. So it was so completely overwhelming for me. But it is
Yeah, it's
such
a
a
lot of work.
thrill to have so many options, and it's a blast to see the things people come up with.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I did really like it back in the day, with the many things that people could come up with, and I'm really excited for that this week as well. Especially since, as you pointed out, you only had the moves to pass down to another mon. Now it's also the abilities. So that's something that really mattered in the choosing process for the mon this week is I made sure to choose one that had one or two abilities that are competitively viable.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because you'll see it with the way the rules are set for how they pass them down, as you explained in the announcement. The first mon won't have anything different. Did you correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe it's on here as well? The first mon can't use. Yeah, the first mon won't be able to use the move that's given. However, that'll be the only
Yeah,
difference for the first mon.
yeah. There's nothing going to the first mon, so I
Hmm.
thought it gave a little bit more thinking to be had about which order you put your mons in and what is the kind of the sacrificial lamb in the
Hmm.
first position.
Yes, and then to the counter of that, you have on the back end the mon that will be receiving an ability and a move, but it won't be trading it. It won't be giving anything away to anyone.
Yeah.
Again, with what we were saying about how it's always a blast to see what people come up with. There's having that ability added on here is going to make for such a different strategy and mindset to this, and I think we're gonna see a lot of mons with abilities that maybe they should never have been allowed to be given in the first place, but that's part of the fun
Absolutely,
of Survivor formats.
absolutely.
So
I've already seen some weird things in the in the preparation for people. I hope that we were able to kind of balance it out so that nothing is too strong. Because I know that let's say we get a lot more setup sweepers that week. I'm I made sure that there's a few options for unaware. I made sure that there's a few immunities. So I hope that the defensive side and the offensive side can kind of balance each other out.
yeah, so Omari, being a participant, maybe don't go into too much detail, but seeing this
Yeah.
format mostly brand new, what are some of the few things that just stand out or that you're keeping an eye on, maybe defensively, or that might be something that could be a core of a few teams?
Well, without getting too much into depth of my own strategy, um, or anyone that I've seen on my teams, um, one thing that I don't think a lot of people have seen is the opportunity for Slush Rush to be added to something with Hail. I feel like that could certainly be quite interesting
Oh yeah,
with Night
arc
Elder,
result.
Octazol, and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
something
cool.
that's quite
Idea.
strong but slow could suddenly get Slush Rush and pose quite a real tangible threat.
I'd be interested to see a slush rush be prevalent.
I feel
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's a bit overcommitted though, but if someone can make it work, I'd be really down to see that.
Very fair. I think
But
one thing.
certainly the unaware ones
Oh, go ahead.
are unaware ones are certainly so prevalent. Like especially there's a few I see some dragon dances with Neuven and Scrafty. I see some I see some bulk up mons. There's just a lot of potential for things to get out of hand. So I feel like unaware is going to be a very important ability this week, especially on the right mon.
Yeah, unaware can
Yeah.
always be big. Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna be looking also for the fun of like seeing since the months have to be in the right order. I'm gonna be looking out for mm, how can you predict what was given to the following month, you know? Because some months here have more than one great option to pass down. So sometimes it can be a little bit ambiguous trying to figure out what was actually passed down to another one.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll say for now, or yeah, for now, seeing Skelly Dirge automatically, obviously, anytime you see
Yeah.
him,
Yeah,
you gotta at least plan around him. Even if you don't use him, you have to plan around him.
big torch song. Torch song can just make something get out of hand super quickly, no matter how mid
Yeah,
its special attack.
and
Uh,
that's the thing. Is it gonna be the one using Torch Song and receiving like a cool ability and a cool side move, or is it gonna pass down Torch Song to another mon and make it even more threatening?
the options are all there, and they're all exciting.
Yeah.
So, last point before we wrap this up while we're on this format. This is a week where we're going to start seeing more bonus points again. How do you think the villains and heroes are going to be operating with these two?
Um, as a hero, I think we've been done dirty again.
You
uh,
guys always do, I
uh,
swear.
no, I'm
I
just saying
I saw the
there's a lot
exact
of poison
opposite
types.
earlier.
There's a lot of poison types in this format, and having a fairy type Pokemon is unideal.
Mm.
Hey,
Just with
Terra's
Toxtricity,
allowed.
Weezing,
There's always
Terra is
Terra.
allowed, but it's just always something leaving back in mind. But I feel like Roserade and Togekiss themselves have an interesting dynamic with
Hmm.
both having a super effective stab on the other. So if we see any like direct clashes between those two, it'll be in obviously with Roserade having a higher speed, but and with the moves and abilities passed down, anything can really flip the game
Yeah,
on its head.
it'll come down to abilities and items on that matchup. It'll be exciting to see. I think this one is probably the most exciting comparison in my opinion. That, like you pointed out, having that super effective on each side. I think this is probably one of the most exciting direct matchups.
Mm. That's what I try to do. Yeah, I try to make it so that the two, at least in one against the other, would always have a chance.
Hmm. It's a tough thing to do in Pokemon. There's almost every Pokemon is going to have a one up on somebody.
Hmm.
Most mons aren't at a if they are at a stalemate, it's not for a good reason normally. So it's tough to make a good comparison. I think this is a good one. Yes, you're gonna have your pros and cons, but I think this is a damn good one you came up with.
I do feel like Roserade does benefit a lot more from the um, Chinese whispers.
Hmm.
So Togekiss losing Serene Grace is a huge part of its move pool, and sorry, it's a huge part of its just like essence as a Pokemon, and not having those reliable air slash flinches would be huge. Whereas Roserade could get lots of things. It could get Torch Song to boost its special attack, could get Merciless. That'd be cool to see. Merciless from Salazzle, and one that usually doesn't run it.
Could also bring that Togekiss at the end and just add another good move to that Serene Grace.
Yeah, that.
I,
Oh
I
yeah,
I do see
that's
what
true.
he's saying. I do see what he's saying. I think Roserade just you have a better idea right on of what you could be doing with it.
Hmm.
Togekiss is maybe a little harder to figure out. So yeah, going to be looking forward if the hero decide to bring it. To what they actually ended up making out of it.
Yeah, I'll be excited for team sheets. I hope everybody shares their team sheets after their matches, or even if they don't, keep them. If you want to hold on to it until the week's over, I would also understand. Share them at the very end. I would love to see them later. Put them in your confessionals. I think that's a fair
Oh yeah.
compromise.
Real.
Thank you everybody again for watching episode 3 of Survivor. Mari, as our guest speaker, go ahead and give us a few words to lead us out.
Yeah, just well played, everyone. Watching all the games live was real, real treat. Um, there was some heat in every game. No game was boring. This week, hopefully, we'll see another Aqua win, but I feel like everything's to play for. This is a very interesting format. I hope to see some more heat in this week.
All right, and Yuta, anything from you?
Absolutely. I think that this season is shaping up to be the most insane yet. I kind of wish we continue on that in that trajectory. And yeah, just wishing everyone a good week and to have a lot of fun with building in that format because I absolutely love it.
Definitely. We had a great week this week, I think, as you guys stated. Very great matches. This format looks like it's going to be exciting. We've only seen it about half the power of what it is now. Can't wait to see what it looks like. Hope you all join us again next week. And with that, have a good one.